Greetings everybody, Merlin Silver here, and today I'd like to share with you a trick I discovered this last summer about DJing with push and using the touch strip to access the crossfader. The only way I've found previous to this to access the touch strip is to go into user mode, so I'll just quickly demonstrate that over here. So here on my push 3 I would have to press this button at the top, and as you can see I've gone into user mode. Over here on live, I would have to enter MIDI map mode, click on the center of the crossfader here, and then map to, as you can see, the pitch bend. Now, there's two things that aren't great about this. The first is that I have to go in and out of user mode. So if I'm playing with effects or otherwise trying to crossfade my way in and out of things, I have to toggle between this, and it's really difficult and basically not ideal for that purpose. The other problem is, as you can see, when I move my finger up and down the touch strip, if I let go, it snaps back to the 0 point, which is perfect if you want to use it as a pitch wheel, but definitely not perfect if you want to do it as a crossfader. The only way I could really do this before would be to kind of crossfade to where I want to be and then jump out of user mode, and it will stay there. But again, really fiddly, prone to lots of issues, not at all ideal. So I'm going to delete that MIDI mapping I made here in live. Okay, cool. So I discovered a new way that allows me to stay within my environment and not do what I just mentioned. Let's have a look. So here I've got my DJ set with all my own music. Very traditional. I've got a deck A and a deck B. Deck A is sending to crossfader group A at the bottom, and deck B is sending to B, and this is the crossfader. On the left, I've got this control channel. This is a MIDI track, and the first thing up here, I won't go deep into it, but I'm using the Performer device from Ableton Live version 12 to map the filter, reverb, and delay parameters of both deck A and deck B. So one thing I can do is right click and say lock to push 3. So no matter where I navigate, at the top of my push I will always have access to these 8 knobs. Let's have a look here. Deck A, if I move this, I'm moving my filter, and deck B, if I move this, I'm moving that filter. I've used the macro editor mode to make this a bit easier. But yeah, that's a conversation for another day. So great, I've got everything I need to DJ in 8 knobs that I can always access. So what I want now is to use the touch strip as a crossfader, and this is how I've discovered to do it. It's a bit fiddly, but once it works, it works. First up, I'm using drift. I'm going to turn that off actually, I don't need that at all. And the only reason this is in this instrument rack is to tell live that my push interface should be the note view and not, for example, the drum rack view or the simpler view. I'm telling push what kind of MIDI track I intend this to be. And I'm doing that because I need access to CC controls via the touch strip. So drift is just a dummy to kind of tell push what to do. Okay, I've got a through chain just in case I want to do more MIDI fun. I haven't got there yet. So in order to access this, I'm sending MIDI out to a virtual driver, and I'm going to receive it back in again. So I'm using a Mac. An IAC driver is free and simple and easy to install. If you're using Windows, I'm sure there's many similar options. And you should also check your audio interface because lots of them have a loopback function where you can loop back the MIDI that you send out as MIDI inputs. So yeah, essentially what we're trying to do is bounce MIDI out of live and back in again. And in order to do that, I'm making sure that here in my preferences, I'll just drag that up, I have enabled the IAC driver on both the input ports and the output ports. So now, when I play with my push or I send MIDI, it's going to send it out to here, and then it will be received by live again. So if I just move the pitch wheel, you can see there's a little light shining up here to show me that I'm sending MIDI out. So the last thing I need to do is to go into MIDI mode. I'm going to open the browser so we can see it. Note that there are three options. There's the left, right, and middle. I want the middle. And before I do this, I'm going to go over to my push. I'm going to hold down select, and I'm going to touch my touch strip. And you'll see at the top, it says now touch strip mode mod wheel. I can press it again, touch strip mode pitch bend. Again, touch strip mode mod wheel. So by holding down select and touching the touch strip, I can toggle between a pitch wheel function and a mod wheel function. Now, if you look at the lights, you can see that it's changed. Now, if I take my finger off, it stays where it was, which is exactly what I want. You can see here in live that by touching it, I've also mapped this to the crossfade center, CC1 crossfade center. Okay, now let's jump out of map mode. I'm using Command M or Control M on a PC, and I'm going to close the browser. And we can see, if we look down here, that my touch strip is now controlling the crossfader, and I'm still in Push's normal view. So I still have access to all of my filters and effects. Awesome. So let's quickly put it to a test. I'm going to just fire off some of my music and do probably a disastrous crossfade, but hopefully it will prove that this works a charm. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, this works. I used it a bunch of times this summer. It worked really, really nice. So now instead of fumbling my way through CDJs, I can just do it all in the box where I belong. Lovely. So, Merlin Silver here, signing off. I hope that was useful, and leave some comments below if something doesn't work or if you're confused about something I've demonstrated. Thanks for now. I'll see you next time.